Welcome to Sleepy Life Eras. Tonight, we are spending a quiet winter night inside an 18th century home in England. Nothing here needs your attention. Everything moves slowly. You are safe to rest. You are safe to listen. The evening has already begun. The room is a bedroom inside an English home. The setting belongs to 18th century England. Night has already settled across the countryside outside the walls. The bedroom remains enclosed and finished with the day. Thick stone walls form the boundary of the space. The stone holds warmth gathered earlier, keeping it contained. Its surface appears uneven, darkened by age and use. The walls absorb the firelight rather than reflecting it outward. A low ceiling closes the room from above. Heavy wooden beams run across it, dark and fixed in place. The height of the ceiling keeps the warmth settled and unchanged. A single hearth rests along one side of the room. The fire remains steady within the stone opening. Its light stays near the hearth, thinning as it reaches the edges of the room. No other light source is present. Heavy wooden furniture occupies the space without variation. A solid bed frame stands against one wall. Its structure appears sturdy and unmoving. A small table rests nearby, its surface empty and still. A wooden chair remains positioned beside it. Each piece stays where it has long remained. The floor is formed from wide wooden planks. The planks are worn smooth and uninterrupted. No sound carries through the stone walls. Outside, winter frost covers fields and paths beyond the home. The frost remains unseen, held back by the stone and wood. The interior air stays quiet and settled. Nothing within the room suggests movement or expectation. The space contains no activity and no preparation. Everything here appears complete and unchanged. The fire continues as the only source of light and presence. The bedroom holds its shape, its warmth, and its stillness without variation. The room continues to exist within stone and warmth. Its boundaries remain intact and unquestioned. The interior holds the same shape it has held. Nothing presses against that shape from within. Nothing alters it from outside. Firelight remains present without urgency. The light does not reach far. It stays close to its source. Beyond the light, shadow remains. The shadow does not shift. The balance between light and dark holds steady. The same balance continues without adjustment. Warmth remains contained within the room. The walls continue their quiet holding. Stone absorbs and keeps what it contains. The ceiling remains low and unchanged. The space feels enclosed without movement. Air within the room stays even and settled. No sound enters the interior. No sound leaves it. Silence remains complete and uninterrupted. Outside conditions exist only as pressure. Cold remains separate from warmth. That separation holds without effort. The room does not register the passage of time. Time does not mark itself here. Moments lack distinction from one another. The same moment appears to remain. Firelight continues as a constant presence. Its glow does not expand or retreat. Shadows remain long and familiar. They rest where they already are. Nothing interrupts their placement. The interior contains only what is necessary. No additional detail presents itself. No element demands recognition. The room maintains its finished state. Nothing here waits for completion. Nothing here suggests preparation. The sense of enclosure remains consistent. Boundaries feel known rather than observed. The space holds together without tension. Warmth continues to rest within the walls. The walls remain thick and reliable. Their presence does not call attention to itself. Firelight persists without signaling change. Light remains shallow and contained. Darkness remains full and quiet. The meeting point between them stays the same. No edges sharpen. No edges dissolve. The room does not move toward anything. It does not recede from anything. It remains in place without direction. Time within the room lacks urgency. It does not advance or retreat. It feels suspended without effort. The same stillness continues uninterrupted. Nothing new appears within awareness. Nothing old fades from it. The interior remains complete as it is. Firelight continues to define the visible space. Shadow continues to define the rest. Both remain without conflict. The air holds its quiet evenly. No current passes through it. The room does not signal passing hours. No marker of night presents itself. No marker of change appears. The interior stays familiar without repetition feeling noticeable. The same forms remain present without emphasis. The same distances remain without measure. The same containment persists. Firelight remains visible without demand. Shadow remains present without weight. The room offers no events. It offers no sequence. It offers no transition. The state of completion remains intact. Warmth and enclosure continue together. Stone and darkness continue their quiet agreement. Nothing presses for attention. Nothing withdraws from awareness. The interior maintains sameness without effort. Time within the space becomes indistinct. Moments feel interchangeable. The sense of duration loosens. The room remains. The light remains. The stillness remains. The hearth fire remains contained within the stone opening. Its presence occupies the same space it has occupied. The fire exists as a steady source of light and warmth. The light stays close to the hearth. It does not extend beyond its familiar boundary. The fire holds its place without variation. The surrounding stone absorbs the glow. The glow rests against the stone without reaching outward. The fire remains low and settled. It appears contained rather than active. The same warmth remains gathered at the hearth. That warmth does not travel through the room. It stays where it is held. The fire's light defines only the nearest surfaces. Those surfaces remain unchanged. The boundary between light and shadow stays consistent. The fire does not announce itself. It remains present without demand. The hearth continues to hold the fire securely. The fire rests within its limits. Its glow appears even and familiar. No new detail appears within the light. The same tones repeat within the glow. The fire maintains the same depth of color. The stone continues to darken the edges of the light. The hearth remains the center of illumination. The fire stays close to that center. Nothing draws the light farther into the room. The glow rests in place without effort. The fire remains quiet in its presence. Its existence feels settled and complete. The same warmth remains gathered near the stone. The stone continues to contain it. The fire does not change its position. It does not suggest movement beyond itself. The hearth appears unchanged by time. The fire appears unchanged as well. The glow remains shallow and contained. The surrounding darkness remains intact. The fire does not disturb the shadow beyond its reach. The hearth holds both light and warmth together. The fire stays within that holding. Its presence remains steady. The same pattern of light continues. The same limits remain visible. The fire does not draw attention outward. It remains an inward presence. The hearth appears complete with the fire within it. Nothing appears missing from it. Nothing appears added to it. The glow remains familiar. The warmth remains familiar as well. The fire's presence continues without emphasis. The hearth continues to hold it quietly. The stone remains dark around the edges. The fire remains visible without demand. Its light does not sharpen or fade. It remains consistent within the space. The same light rests against the same stone. The same warmth remains contained there. The hearth continues as the fixed source of light. The fire remains where it is. It remains what it is. The glow holds steady within the hearth. The warmth holds steady as well. The stone surrounding the hearth remains fixed in place. Its surface forms a solid frame around the fire. The stone appears thick and unmoving. It holds its shape without variation. The same stone continues to face the room. Its texture remains uneven and familiar. Darkened areas remain settled within the surface. The stone absorbs the nearby firelight. The light does not travel beyond it. The surface holds the glow without reflecting it outward. The stone remains cool where the light does not reach. Its edges stay defined and unchanged. The fireplace around continues to frame the hearth. It neither expands nor recedes. Its presence remains constant. The stone shows no sign of movement. The same contours remain visible in the light. The same contours fade into shadow beyond it. The surface appears worn without appearing altered. The stone remains exactly as it is. It does not draw attention to itself. It simply remains present. The firelight rests against the stone evenly. The glow does not sharpen its edges. The stone keeps the light soft and contained. The same portions of the surface remain illuminated. The remaining portions stay in shadow. This balance remains unchanged. The stone continues to surround the hearth opening. It provides a clear boundary without emphasis. The fireplace surround remains solid and reliable. The surface does not shift in tone. It does not reveal new detail. The same markings remain visible where the light rests. The same markings disappear where the light ends. The stone holds both clarity and obscurity together. Neither state overtakes the other. The fireplace surround maintains its weight. That weight remains implied rather than felt. The stone does not suggest change. It does not invite inspection. It remains complete without interaction. The surface stays quiet in its presence. The stone neither brightens nor darkens beyond its familiar range. The same tones remain visible. The stone continues to contain the fire visually. It frames the light without interruption. The fireplace surround remains the same from moment to moment. No distinction forms between one moment and the next. The surface continues to exist without demand. It offers no variation to follow. The stone remains sufficient as it is. The edges remain where they have always been. The center remains open to the hearth. The surround maintains its quiet symmetry. Nothing presses against the stone from either side. Nothing withdraws from it. The stone holds its position effortlessly. The firelight continues to rest against it. The stone continues to accept that light. The interaction remains unchanged. The fireplace surround stays present without emphasis. Its surface does not call for attention. It remains part of the room's fixed structure. The stone maintains its role without signaling it. It does not suggest use or purpose. It simply remains. The same stone continues to frame the hearth opening. The same texture continues beneath the light. The same depth continues beyond it. No aspect of the surface changes its relation to the room. No new detail enters awareness. The fireplace surround remains complete and settled. The stone remains what it is. It remains where it is. The surface holds steady within the room. The presence of the stone remains steady as well. The ash rests within the hearth beneath the fire. It remains settled where it has collected. Fine grey ash lies in a shallow layer. Its surface appears soft and undisturbed. The ash holds its shape without alteration. No mark appears across it. The same pattern remains visible. Small embers remain set within the ash. Their presence is contained and quiet. They do not extend beyond their place. The ash surrounds the embers evenly. It cushions them without covering them fully. The arrangement remains familiar and unchanged. The color of the ash stays muted and pale. It absorbs light rather than reflecting it. The embers appear as darker points within it. They remain embedded where they rest. No shift appears among them. The ash maintains a level surface. It neither rises nor falls. Its edges remain soft and indistinct. The same texture continues across it. The embers remain contained within the ash. They do not draw attention outward. Their presence remains subtle and consistent. The ash appears settled and complete. Nothing within it suggests disturbance. The same granules remain where they are. The ash continues to rest against the hearth floor. It conforms to the space without variation. The embers remain held within that rest. Their form does not change. Their placement remains steady. The ash retains its even spread. No ridge or hollow forms across it. The surface remains smooth and quiet. The embers remain present without emphasis. They exist without signaling activity. They remain part of the settled layer. The ash does not shift around them. It holds them gently in place. The hearth floor beneath remains unseen but implied. The ash rests fully upon it. The embers remain enclosed by the ash. They do not extend beyond it. The same arrangement persists. The ash continues to soften the space beneath the fire. Its presence appears sufficient and complete. No new detail presents itself within it. The embers remain visible only as part of the whole. They do not stand apart from the ash. The ash remains the dominant surface. It spreads evenly beneath the hearth opening. The embers remain fixed within that spread. The same quiet balance continues. The ash absorbs what little light reaches it. Its tone remains muted and calm. The embers remain darker within it. They do not brighten or dim noticeably. They remain consistent in appearance. The ash holds its position without effort. No pressure disturbs it. No motion passes across it. The embers remain contained within the ash. They remain part of the settled layer. The ash continues to appear soft and fine. Its texture remains unchanged. The same surface remains visible from moment to moment. No distinction forms between moments. The ash remains exactly as it is. The embers remain exactly where they are. The hearth holds both without variation. The ash and embers remain together in quiet balance. Nothing within the hearth suggests change. Nothing withdraws from awareness. The ash continues to rest. The embers continue to rest within it. The surface remains complete and settled. The same arrangement persists without effort. The ash remains present without demand. The embers remain present without emphasis. The hearth floor remains covered evenly. The ash maintains its quiet uniformity. The embers remain part of that uniformity. The surface remains unchanged. The arrangement remains unchanged. The ash remains. The embers remain. The wooden bed frame stands against the wall in the same position it has held. Its structure remains solid and unmoving. The frame is built from thick wood, darkened by age. Its surface appears smooth where it has been worn. The bed frame holds its shape without variation. Each joint remains fitted and secure. The same lines of wood remain visible in the firelight. The light rests across the frame without spreading beyond it. Shadow settles along the underside of the wood. The balance between light and shadow remains unchanged. The frame does not suggest movement or use. It remains a fixed presence within the room. The wood appears dense and reliable. Its weight is implied by its stillness. The bed frame occupies the same space without emphasis. No part of it shifts or adjusts. The head of the frame rests firmly against the wall. The foot of the frame remains aligned and steady. The length of the wood remains uninterrupted. The grain of the wood remains visible where the light reaches it. Beyond that, the grain fades into shadow. The surface shows no fresh marks. It carries only what time has already left upon it. The same texture remains from one moment to the next. The bed frame does not draw attention outward. It remains quiet in its presence. The frame appears complete without addition. Nothing appears missing from it. The wood holds its tone evenly. It does not brighten or darken noticeably. The frame continues to rest in shadow and light together. The edges remain clearly defined. The corners remain square and unchanged. The bed frame maintains its familiar outline. No detail emerges beyond what is already visible. No detail recedes from view. The same proportions remain present. The frame does not suggest past or future. It remains firmly in the present state of the room. The wood does not reflect the firelight strongly. It absorbs the glow softly. The surface appears matte and calm. The frame remains visually steady. The same section of wood continues to face the room. The same angles remain unchanged. The bed frame offers no variation to follow. Its presence remains consistent. It does not suggest interaction or preparation. The frame remains finished with the day. The wood continues to hold its place along the wall. The connection between wall and frame remains firm. The same distance remains between its edges and the floor. No gap widens or narrows. The frame remains evenly supported. The bed frame does not shift in attention. It remains part of the room's settled arrangement. The same shadow rests beneath it. The same light touches its upper edge. The wood appears neither rough nor polished beyond its age. Its finish remains subdued. The bed frame remains sufficient as it is. It offers no signal of change. It offers no signal of use. The frame continues to exist without emphasis. The same form remains visible from moment to moment. No distinction forms between those moments. The bed frame remains steady within the room. Its presence does not require acknowledgement. It remains part of the room's quiet structure. The wood maintains its stillness effortlessly. Nothing presses against it. Nothing withdraws from it. The bed frame holds its place without effort. The same outline remains against the wall. The same surface remains beneath the light. The same shadow remains beneath it. The frame does not introduce variation. It does not invite inspection. It simply remains present. The bed frame remains unchanged. It remains what it is. The wood holds steady within the room. The presence of the frame holds steady as well. The wool blankets remain folded and settled on the bed frame. Their weight rests evenly where it has been placed. The layers lie one upon another without shift. The fabric holds its shape without adjustment. The same folds remain visible in the firelight. The edges appear soft and contained. The blankets absorb the warmth nearby. That warmth remains held within the wool. The surface appears matte and quiet. The texture remains dense and familiar. The wool shows no loose ends or movement. Its weave remains even and uninterrupted. The blankets occupy the same portion of the bed. They do not extend beyond their settled boundary. The folds remain shallow and consistent. No crease deepens or relaxes. The firelight touches the upper layers gently. Shadow remains beneath the lower folds. The balance between light and shadow stays unchanged. The blankets do not suggest use or preparation. They remain finished with the day. The wool holds its form without effort. The same thickness remains throughout the layers. The same density remains within the fabric. The blankets do not draw attention outward. They remain present without emphasis. The surface appears uniform across its length. No pattern shifts into focus. The wool continues to mute the light that reaches it. Its tone remains subdued and even. The blankets remain clearly defined against the bed frame. Their outline stays familiar and unchanged. The folds maintain their quiet repetition. Each layer remains where it is. The fabric does not tighten or loosen. It remains settled in the same arrangement. The blankets appear sufficient and complete. Nothing appears missing from them. Nothing appears added to them. The wool retains its soft surface. Its texture remains consistent beneath the light. Beyond the light, the texture fades into shadow. The blankets continue to hold warmth quietly. That warmth does not travel beyond them. It remains contained within the layers. The same folds remain visible from moment to moment. No distinction forms between those moments. The blankets remain undisturbed. Their presence does not invite inspection. The wool does not reflect light sharply. It absorbs the glow softly. The blankets remain calm in appearance. The same arrangement continues without variation. The edges remain where they have been. The corners remain aligned and still. The blankets do not suggest movement or change. They remain a fixed part of the room's arrangement. The fabric holds its quiet thickness. The weave remains close and even. The blankets remain folded as they are. No layer separates from another. The same contact remains between each fold. The same pressure remains distributed across the surface. The blankets remain settled without effort. The firelight continues to rest across them lightly. Shadow continues to gather beneath them. Neither state overtakes the other. The blankets remain unchanged by time. They appear the same from one moment to the next. The wool does not signal warmth outward. It keeps that warmth within itself. The blankets remain quiet in their presence. They offer no variation to follow. The same folds repeat gently across the surface. The same thickness remains beneath each fold. The blankets remain part of the room's settled state. They do not suggest anticipation or activity. They remain complete as they are. The wool holds its position without emphasis. Nothing presses against the fabric. Nothing withdraws from it. The blankets maintain their quiet uniformity. The surface remains unchanged. The arrangement remains unchanged. The wool remains folded and still. The blankets remain present without demand. Their form remains familiar. Their texture remains familiar as well. The blankets remain. The wooden chest remains closed and settled against the wall. Its position appears unchanged and deliberate. The chest holds its shape without variation. Its surface remains darkened by age and use. The wood appears solid and uninterrupted. Its grain remains visible where the firelight reaches it. Beyond that reach, the surface fades into shadow. The chest does not reflect light strongly. It absorbs the glow quietly. The edges remain clearly defined. The corners remain square and steady. The lid rests firmly in its closed position. No gap appears along its seam. The chest gives no indication of movement. It remains finished with the day. The iron fittings rest against the wood without shine. Their surface appears matte and dark. They hold their place without emphasis. The chest remains complete as it is. Nothing suggests it will be opened. Nothing suggests it has been recently disturbed. The same weight appears to settle within it. That weight remains implied rather than seen. The chest occupies the same space within the room. It does not press outward or recede inward. The wood maintains its quiet density. The surface shows no fresh marks. Only familiar wear remains visible. The chest does not draw attention to itself. It remains present without demand. The firelight touches one side gently. Shadow holds the other side evenly. The balance between light and shadow remains unchanged. The chest remains part of the room's fixed arrangement. Its placement appears settled and final. The wood does not shift in tone. The same color remains across its surface. The iron fittings remain still and dark. They do not catch the light sharply. Their presence remains subtle and quiet. The chest offers no signal of use. It offers no signal of expectation. The lid remains closed without tension. The hinges remain unseen and inactive. The chest remains self-contained. Nothing extends from it. Nothing withdraws into it. The same outline remains visible from moment to moment. No distinction forms between those moments. The chest continues to exist without variation. Its presence remains constant within the room. The wood appears neither polished nor rough beyond its age. Its finish remains subdued. The surface remains uninterrupted. The chest does not invite inspection. It does not suggest contents or history. It remains closed and quiet. The firelight continues to rest across it lightly. The shadow continues to rest beside it. Neither state overtakes the other. The chest remains unchanged by time within the room. It appears the same from one moment to the next. The iron fittings remain aligned and still. They do not shift or glint. The chest maintains its silent weight. That weight does not need acknowledgement. The wood holds its position without effort. The same surfaces remain visible where the light falls. The same surfaces remain hidden where it does not. The chest remains sufficient as it is. Nothing appears missing from it. Nothing appears added to it. The lid remains sealed in place. The seam remains even and undisturbed. The chest continues to rest against the wall. Its contact with the floor remains steady. No sound comes from it. No sound enters it. The chest remains silent. Its presence remains part of the room's stillness. The same shape remains against the wall. The same volume remains within that shape. The chest does not suggest motion or change. It remains closed and complete. The wood maintains its quiet tone. The iron maintains its dark restraint. The chest remains visually settled. It remains structurally settled. Nothing presses against it. Nothing withdraws from it. The chest holds its place effortlessly. The same presence remains within the room. The same stillness remains around it. The chest remains unchanged. It remains what it is. The wooden floor planks extend across the room beneath everything else. They remain flat and continuous in the same arrangement. Each plank rests beside the next, without separation. The surface appears worn smooth by time. The wood holds its position without shift. The same lines run lengthwise across the floor. Their spacing remains even and familiar. The planks absorb the firelight softly. Light reaches them only in shallow measure. Shadow settles between the boards without movement. The grain of the wood remains visible where the light rests. Beyond that reach, the grain fades quietly. The floor does not reflect light sharply. It keeps the glow close to its surface. The same tones remain across the planks. No section appears brighter than another. The floor supports the room without notice. Its presence remains implied rather than observed. The planks do not suggest movement or sound. They remain settled and complete. The same seams remain visible between boards. They do not widen or narrow. The wood remains solid beneath its surface. No hollow or soft area appears. The floor holds its structure evenly. The planks remain aligned from edge to edge. Their ends remain unseen beneath the room's edges. The surface continues without interruption. The firelight touches only part of the floor. The rest remains in shadow. This division stays unchanged. The planks do not call attention to themselves. They remain quiet beneath the room. The floor does not suggest activity or passage. It remains finished with the day. The same pattern remains visible from moment to moment. No distinction forms between those moments. The wood appears neither polished nor rough beyond its age. Its surface remains matte and subdued. The planks maintain their familiar texture. The grain repeats along their length. The repetition remains gentle and even. The floor does not introduce variation. It remains consistent beneath the room. The planks absorb warmth quietly. That warmth does not travel across them. It remains held near the surface. The same sections remain visible within the light. The same sections remain unseen beyond it. The floor remains level and undisturbed. No pressure alters its shape. The planks hold their place without effort. The wood remains familiar in tone and texture. It does not change its appearance. The same boards remain present beneath the room. The same seams remain between them. The same surface remains exposed to the light. The floor remains sufficient as it is. Nothing appears missing from it. Nothing appears added to it. The planks do not invite inspection. They remain part of the room's settled state. The wood continues to exist without emphasis. The surface remains unchanged by time within the room. It appears the same from one moment to the next. The planks maintain their quiet alignment. Their arrangement remains constant. The floor does not suggest movement or direction. It remains a stable presence beneath everything else. The same texture remains beneath the light. The same darkness remains between the boards. Neither state overtakes the other. The floor remains settled and complete. The wood holds its position effortlessly. Nothing presses against it. Nothing withdraws from it. The planks remain where they are. They remain what they are. The floor remains unchanged. The surface remains. The wooden ceiling beams extend across the room above the hearth and bed. They remain fixed in their familiar positions. Each beam rests parallel to the next. Their spacing remains even and unchanged. The beams appear darkened by age and smoke. Their surfaces absorb the firelight quietly. Light reaches only the lower edges of the wood. Beyond that reach, the beams remain in shadow. The same shadows remain where they have settled. No edge sharpens within the darkness. The beams hold the ceiling low and contained. Their presence keeps the space enclosed. The ceiling remains close without pressure. The beams do not draw attention downward. They remain overhead without emphasis. The same lengths of wood remain visible. The same sections fade from view. No portion advances or recedes. The beams appear solid and reliable. Their weight is implied by stillness. Nothing presses against them from below. Nothing shifts above them. The wood shows no fresh marks. Only familiar darkening remains. The beams maintain their quiet alignment. They run across the ceiling without interruption. No break appears between them. The firelight touches one beam more than another. That difference remains slight and steady. Shadow fills the remaining space evenly. The balance between light and dark holds. The beams do not reflect light strongly. They keep the glow muted and close. The ceiling remains visually calm. The beams do not suggest height or depth. They suggest enclosure instead. The same structure remains overhead. The same lines remain across the ceiling. No new detail appears within them. The beams remain finished with the day. They offer no sign of activity. They offer no sign of change. The wood maintains its subdued tone. The grain remains visible where light rests. Beyond that, the grain disappears. The beams remain consistent in appearance. Their surfaces do not brighten or dull further. They remain the same from moment to moment. The ceiling continues to feel contained. The beams reinforce that containment quietly. No sound comes from above them. No sound moves along them. The beams remain silent and still. They remain part of the room's settled structure. The same overhead pattern continues. No distinction forms between one moment and the next. The beams do not invite inspection. They remain present without demand. The wood appears neither polished nor rough beyond age. Its finish remains matte and quiet. The beams hold their position effortlessly. Nothing pulls them downward. Nothing lifts them upward. The ceiling remains unchanged beneath them. The beams maintain their familiar outline. Their edges remain soft in the low light. The same shadows remain between them. The same light rests along their lower faces. Neither state overtakes the other. The beams do not suggest time passing. They remain constant overhead. The same arrangement continues without variation. The ceiling feels stable and complete. The beams contribute to that stability quietly. They remain part of the room's finished state. No adjustment appears within their alignment. No shift appears within their spacing. The wood remains steady and contained. The beams remain where they are. They remain what they are. The firelight rests against the stone wall beside the hearth. It reaches the surface without extending beyond it. The light spreads softly across the stone. Its edges remain indistinct and calm. The wall absorbs the glow without reflection. The same section of stone remains illuminated. Beyond that section, shadow remains complete. The light does not travel across the wall. It remains settled where it touches. The stone holds the light quietly. Its surface appears uneven beneath the glow. Those irregularities remain familiar and unchanged. The firelight does not sharpen their edges. It softens them instead. The wall remains still beneath the light. No new detail emerges from the stone. The same marks remain visible where the glow rests. The same marks fade into darkness beyond it. The boundary between light and shadow remains steady. Neither side advances. Neither side retreats. The firelight appears shallow and contained. It does not deepen or thin noticeably. The stone continues to accept the glow evenly. The wall does not reflect warmth outward. It keeps the light close to its surface. The same portion of wall remains visible from moment to moment. No distinction forms between those moments. The stone remains unchanged by the light resting against it. Its tone remains muted and dark. The firelight does not brighten it beyond familiarity. The wall continues to exist as a fixed surface. The glow remains part of that surface. The light does not draw attention outward. It remains inward and contained. The wall does not suggest depth beyond its face. It remains present and flat beneath the light. The firelight touches the stone gently. The contact remains consistent. The same tones repeat within the illuminated area. The same darkness remains beyond it. The wall maintains its quiet balance of light and shadow. No section becomes dominant. The stone does not call for attention. It remains part of the room's settled structure. The firelight remains the only source of illumination here. It does not suggest movement or change. The glow stays close to the hearth side of the wall. It does not travel upward or outward. The same irregular stone pattern remains visible. The same pattern remains partially obscured. The wall continues to hold its texture quietly. The firelight does not alter that texture. It rests upon it without effect. The stone remains cool where the light does not reach. That coolness remains implied rather than felt. The wall does not change its appearance. The light remains constant in depth and range. The illuminated area does not expand. It does not contract. The boundary between glow and shadow remains fixed. The wall remains finished with the day. It offers no suggestion of activity. The stone continues to face the room quietly. The firelight continues to face the stone quietly. Their relationship remains unchanged. The same surface remains visible beneath the glow. The same darkness remains beyond it. Neither state overtakes the other. The wall does not suggest time passing. The firelight does not suggest time passing. Both remain steady within the room. The stone wall holds the light without emphasis. The light holds its place against the stone. Nothing interrupts this contact. Nothing alters it. The wall remains unchanged beneath the glow. The firelight remains unchanged against it. The surface remains. The glow remains. The window remains set into the stone wall without offering a view beyond it. Its surface appears dark and opaque. No light passes through from outside. The window holds the night back quietly. The frame remains fixed within the wall. Its edges appear steady and unchanged. The glass shows no reflection beyond the room's light. Firelight reaches the window only faintly. That light does not pass through it. The surface remains closed to the outside. The window suggests frost without revealing it. Cold remains implied rather than seen. The boundary between interior and exterior remains intact. The window does not draw attention outward. It remains a quiet part of the wall. The same darkness fills the glass from edge to edge. No shape appears beyond it. No movement registers upon it. The window remains finished with the day. Its presence suggests enclosure rather than openness. The frame appears solid and reliable. The glass remains cool and still in appearance. The firelight rests along the nearby stone instead. Only a faint trace reaches the window's edge. That trace remains unchanged. The window does not brighten or dim noticeably. It maintains the same muted tone. The surface remains uninterrupted by reflection. No interior detail appears within it. No exterior detail enters from it. The window remains a held boundary. Its shape remains familiar and unchanged. The frame remains aligned within the stone. No gap appears around its edges. The glass remains dark without depth. It does not invite inspection. The window offers no indication of weather. Only the absence of sound suggests winter beyond it. The interior remains unaffected by that absence. The window continues to hold the outside at a distance. The same darkness remains present from moment to moment. No distinction forms between those moments. The window does not suggest time passing. It remains constant within the wall. The glass does not reflect the firelight clearly. It absorbs it without response. The frame remains visible where the light reaches it. Beyond that reach, the frame fades into shadow. The balance between light and dark remains steady. The window does not interrupt the room's stillness. It contributes to the sense of enclosure quietly. The surface remains smooth and uninterrupted. No mark or condensation appears upon it. The glass remains clear only in its darkness. The window remains part of the wall's structure. It does not suggest opening or closing. It remains sealed and complete. The same boundary persists between inside and out. The outside remains implied, without presence. The inside remains contained without effort. The window continues to face the night quietly. The night offers no response. The glass remains unchanged by that silence. The frame maintains its steady outline. The edges remain square and familiar. The window remains visually calm. No detail emerges to follow. The surface does not shift in tone. It remains the same from one moment to the next. The window does not introduce variation. It remains a fixed point within the wall. The darkness within it remains complete. The boundary remains intact. The window does not suggest distance or depth. It remains a flat surface holding night away. The firelight continues to belong elsewhere. The window remains outside that glow. The separation remains unchanged. The glass remains still and unmarked. The frame remains still and unmarked. The window remains finished and quiet. It remains part of the room's settled state. Nothing presses against it from either side. Nothing withdraws from it. The window holds its place effortlessly. The same darkness remains within it. The same stillness remains around it. The window remains unchanged. The boundary remains. The silence fills the room without interruption. It remains complete and undivided. No sound enters the space. No sound leaves it. The silence holds steady within the stone walls. It settles evenly across the room. Nothing disturbs its presence. The silence does not shift or thin. It remains constant in depth. The same quiet continues from moment to moment. No creak appears within the wood. No crackle rises beyond the hearth's settled state. The silence remains larger than any single object. It rests above the floor and beneath the ceiling. It occupies every corner evenly. The absence of sound feels established and complete. Nothing suggests it will end. Nothing suggests it has begun. The silence remains without origin. It does not draw attention to itself. It simply remains present. The same quiet surrounds the furniture. It rests against the stone walls. It lingers beneath the ceiling beams. The silence does not deepen or fade. It holds the same weight throughout the room. No section becomes louder or softer. The quiet remains evenly distributed. The silence does not signal time passing. It offers no rhythm or measure. Moments pass without distinction. The same stillness remains present. No echo forms within the space. No vibration moves through the air. The silence rests calmly within the room. It remains part of the room's finished state. The absence of sound does not require attention. It exists without emphasis. The silence does not invite listening. It remains without demand. The quiet does not press inward. It does not withdraw outward. It remains evenly present. No sound from outside crosses the walls. No sound from within breaks through it. The silence continues uninterrupted. The same quiet holds the room together. It settles between objects without touching them. The silence feels familiar and unchanged. It does not introduce variation. It does not suggest movement. The quiet remains fixed within the space. No tone emerges from it. No absence within it becomes noticeable. The silence remains whole. The room does not respond to it. The silence does not respond to the room. Both remain steady together. The quiet continues beneath the firelight. It remains unchanged by the glow. The same stillness persists within the shadows. The silence holds its place effortlessly. Nothing presses against it. Nothing withdraws from it. The quiet remains sufficient as it is. It does not suggest anticipation or release. It remains settled and complete. The silence does not mark beginnings or endings. It remains continuous and unbroken. The same absence of sound remains present. No distinction forms between moments. The silence does not change character. It remains exactly itself. The quiet holds steady within the room. It remains what it is. The silence remains. The stillness remains. The warmth remains present within the room. It exists without a clear edge or boundary. The warmth does not move from one place to another. It remains evenly held within the space. The same warmth continues without variation. It does not rise or fall. It does not gather or disperse. The warmth rests quietly among stone and wood. It remains contained without pressure. No source needs to be identified. The warmth simply remains. It does not announce itself. It does not withdraw. The same level of warmth continues from moment to moment. No distinction forms between those moments. The warmth does not suggest change. It remains consistent and complete. The room holds the warmth without effort. The warmth holds the room without effort. Neither presses against the other. Neither recedes from the other. The warmth exists as a steady state. It does not invite attention. It does not demand notice. The same warmth remains present beneath the ceiling. It remains present above the floor. It occupies the space evenly. No area feels separate from it. The warmth does not concentrate or thin. It remains uniform in presence. The room appears settled within it. The warmth appears settled within the room. Both remain unchanged. The warmth does not signal time passing. It does not suggest duration. It does not suggest sequence. The same warmth continues without interruption. No beginning is apparent within it. No ending is suggested by it. The warmth remains continuous. It does not fluctuate with light or shadow. It remains independent of surface or object. The warmth exists without form. It does not require shape. It does not require location. The room remains held within this state. The state remains unchanged by the room. Both remain quietly aligned. The warmth does not travel across the space. It does not gather near the hearth. It does not fade near the walls. It remains evenly present. The same sense of warmth continues without emphasis. It does not intensify or lessen. It simply remains. The warmth does not call attention inward or outward. It does not direct awareness. It exists without orientation. The room does not respond to it. The warmth does not respond to the room. Both remain steady together. The warmth remains part of the room's finished state. It does not suggest preparation or conclusion. It remains sufficient as it is. No additional sensation appears alongside it. No absence appears within it. The warmth remains whole. It does not sharpen awareness. It does not dull awareness. It remains neutral and steady. The same warmth continues beneath the silence. It remains unchanged by stillness. The stillness remains unchanged by it. The warmth does not suggest comfort or discomfort. It remains without interpretation. It exists as a constant condition. The room holds this condition evenly. Nothing within the space alters it. Nothing outside the space reaches it. The warmth remains enclosed without confinement. It remains present without pressure. The same condition persists. No variation draws attention to itself. No shift becomes noticeable. The warmth remains familiar without repetition becoming apparent. It remains the same from one moment to the next. No distinction forms between moments. The warmth does not mark the passage of time. It does not resist it either. It remains separate from time altogether. The room continues within this state. The state continues within the room. Both remain unchanged. The warmth remains steady and complete. It remains what it is. It remains present. The warmth remains. The state remains. The interior remains settled and contained. The space exists without calling attention to where it is. The sense of location softens within the room. The idea of place no longer needs definition. The room remains an interior without reference beyond itself. Walls continue to hold their shape quietly. Their presence no longer points to a particular land or setting. The structure remains complete without a name. The sense of being inside continues without direction. No exterior is required for the interior to remain whole. The room no longer suggests a specific country beyond its walls. The idea of England loosens and fades. What remains is simply an interior held together. The space does not rely on history to remain present. The notion of century no longer applies. Time references soften and dissolve quietly. The room remains without needing to belong to a period. Its existence does not depend on era or age. The interior continues without historical weight. The sense of place becomes less distinct. Geography loosens its hold on the space. The room remains without coordinates. There is no need to situate the interior within a wider world. The walls continue to enclose without pointing outward. The space feels complete without context. The idea of countryside or village dissolves. What remains is enclosure itself. The interior holds together without reference to surroundings. The room remains present without orientation. North and south no longer apply here. The interior remains equally itself in all directions. The space does not indicate distance from anything else. It exists without comparison. The room continues without needing placement. The sense of being somewhere specific continues to thin. The interior no longer suggests a region beyond it. Only the contained space remains. The walls continue to hold without signaling location. Their presence is structural rather than descriptive. The interior remains closed and sufficient. The idea of outside becomes faint and unnecessary. What lies beyond the walls no longer matters. The room holds attention inward. The sense of being in a particular place dissolves further. The interior remains without address or setting. It exists without needing to be found. The space no longer suggests a home within a land. It remains simply an enclosed interior. The idea of origin fades gently. The room continues without requiring a past. Its presence does not depend on where it came from. The interior exists without narrative or lineage. The walls remain familiar in shape without being named. Their material presence remains without cultural reference. The interior no longer implies tradition or setting. The sense of locality continues to thin. The space remains without external markers. The room exists without needing to be placed on a map. The idea of country dissolves completely. Only the contained interior remains. The room does not belong to a nation or region now. It remains self-contained and sufficient. The space no longer suggests borders beyond its walls. The interior remains complete without them. The idea of distance from elsewhere disappears. Near and far no longer apply. The room remains evenly present throughout. The interior no longer suggests travel or arrival. It simply remains where it is. The sense of place fades into sameness. The room exists without needing context or frame. The walls continue to hold space quietly. Their purpose remains enclosure alone. The interior no longer indicates environment beyond itself. It remains inward-facing and complete. The idea of landscape dissolves fully. The room remains without scenery beyond it. Only the enclosed space continues. The sense of being somewhere specific no longer applies. The interior remains without distinction from other interiors. It exists as a general contained space. The room no longer carries location as meaning. The interior holds without needing explanation. Its presence remains uncomplicated. The space exists without reference beyond itself. The idea of region dissolves quietly. What remains is interior stillness. The room continues without geography. The walls remain without direction or indication. Their presence is simply structural and complete. The interior remains present without place. The sense of location fades into neutrality. Only enclosure remains. The room holds its form without meaning beyond itself. The interior remains. The interior remains present without drawing attention to its contents. Objects within the space begin to lose distinction. Their outlines soften without disappearing abruptly. The sense of separate things becomes less necessary. What once appeared as individual objects now feels unified. The room no longer emphasizes what it contains. It holds everything without naming it. The idea of furniture loosens quietly. Solid forms remain without asserting themselves. The difference between one object and another becomes less clear. Surfaces continue to exist without demanding notice. Edges soften into the surrounding space. No object stands apart from the room now. The presence of things becomes collective rather than separate. What remains is a shared stillness among them. The room no longer organizes attention around specific forms. Objects rest within the space without identity. They remain without function or implication. The idea of use fades from awareness. What was once solid feels less defined. Material presence remains without emphasis. The distinction between surfaces begins to thin. Wood and stone no longer require separation. They exist together without contrast. The sense of individual objects dissolves further. Nothing needs to be counted or recognized. The room holds everything evenly. The idea of a specific object becomes unnecessary. Forms remain present without names. Their presence blends into the surrounding space. The room feels less populated by things. It feels more like a single contained state. Objects no longer suggest position or arrangement. They remain without reference to one another. The difference between foreground and background softens. Attention no longer settles on separate items. Everything appears equally present. The room does not emphasize shape or form now. Only the sense of presence remains. Objects dissolve into the space they occupy. The idea of surfaces becomes quieter. They remain without texture needing description. The room no longer highlights physical detail. Material boundaries soften without vanishing. They remain implied rather than observed. The sense of solidity becomes less distinct. Objects continue to exist without assertion. They do not draw attention to their form. The room does not require their presence to be noted. Everything remains held within the interior evenly. The sense of many things becomes a sense of one space. The room remains sufficient without distinct contents. No object appears closer or farther away. Distance between things loses meaning. The interior becomes less about arrangement. It becomes more about continuity. Objects no longer interrupt the stillness. They merge into it quietly. The room does not distinguish between surfaces now. Everything rests within the same state. The idea of separate items fades further. What remains is a unified interior presence. The room holds this presence without effort. Objects no longer define the space. The space defines itself without them. Forms remain without edges calling attention. They feel settled and indistinct. The interior does not ask for recognition of parts. It remains whole without them. The idea of furniture dissolves completely. Only presence remains within the space. The room feels less occupied by things. It feels more evenly filled. Objects exist without separation from the room now. They remain part of the same stillness. Nothing stands out. Nothing recedes. Everything remains equally present. The room no longer distinguishes between objects and space. They become the same quiet condition. Material presence remains without form needing attention. The interior feels continuous and complete. Objects no longer interrupt awareness. They rest within sameness. The sense of separate things dissolves entirely. Only the interior presence remains. The room holds without contents being named. Everything exists without distinction. The idea of objects fades fully. The interior remains. The interior continues without clear boundaries. The sense of room begins to soften into containment. Walls no longer assert themselves as edges. They exist as holding rather than structure. The space feels less defined by surfaces. It feels more defined by continuity. The idea of a room becomes quieter. What remains is a sense of being held. Boundaries lose sharpness without disappearing. They remain implied rather than observed. The interior no longer emphasizes shape or outline. It emphasizes presence instead. The space becomes less measurable. Length and width no longer apply. Height loses distinction. The interior exists without dimension needing notice. The sense of enclosure remains without form. It holds evenly in all directions. The room no longer feels like a container of objects. It feels like a single continuous state. Surfaces dissolve into stillness. They no longer present texture or boundary. The idea of floor and ceiling fades. What remains is support without surface. The space continues without separation. There is no inside edge and no outside edge. Containment exists without contrast. The interior holds without effort. The sense of being surrounded remains without location. It does not point to where or how. The space no longer invites orientation. There is no direction within it. Forward and backward lose relevance. The interior remains evenly present. The room no longer frames experience. It allows experience to remain unframed. The sense of place dissolves into presence. Boundaries no longer separate one area from another. Everything exists together without division. The interior becomes less specific. It becomes more uniform. The idea of location fades further. What remains is containment without shape. The space no longer suggests distance. Near and far dissolve into sameness. The interior holds stillness evenly. There is no center and no edge. The sense of interior spreads without expansion. The room becomes less like a room. It becomes more like an ambient presence. Surfaces no longer carry meaning. They no longer require attention. The space exists without structural cues. It remains complete without definition. The interior does not suggest enclosure by walls. It suggests holding without structure. The idea of architecture dissolves quietly. Only containment remains. The space continues without edges being noticed. It does not feel open or closed. It simply remains. The interior holds warmth without surface. Warmth replaces spatial awareness. The sense of room becomes secondary. What remains is a held condition. The space no longer implies dimension or scale. It exists without measure. The interior remains without needing description. It holds presence evenly. There is no emphasis on where the space begins or ends. Containment becomes the primary quality. Stillness becomes the secondary quality. The room dissolves into both quietly. The sense of structure fades further. What remains is ambient holding. The interior exists as a continuous field. No surfaces interrupted. No boundaries divided. The space feels settled without needing form. It remains stable without shape. The interior no longer distinguishes parts. It remains whole without segmentation. The idea of being inside persists without spatial cues. Containment remains without enclosure being visible. The room becomes a condition rather than a place. It holds evenly and quietly. The sense of space fades into warmth and stillness. Both remain without separation. The interior continues without form or boundary. Only containment remains present. The space dissolves into a held state. The stillness remains. The stillness remains without reference to night. Time no longer holds a clear position here. The sense of evening softens and thins. What once suggested night becomes quiet presence alone. The interior no longer signals a point within the day. There is no indication of late or early. Time does not present itself for notice. Moments do not distinguish themselves from one another. The idea of sequence loosens and fades. What remains is continuity without measure. The stillness does not mark beginnings or endings. It remains evenly present. The passage of hours no longer applies. There is no sense of before or after. The interior exists without a timeline. The night dissolves into steady quiet. Darkness no longer suggests a time of day. It exists as absence rather than condition. The sense of duration thins further. Nothing here measures how long this has been. Nothing suggests how long it will remain. The stillness does not change with time. Time does not move within it. The interior remains outside of sequence. Moments feel interchangeable. They do not carry identity or order. The idea of waiting dissolves. Nothing arrives and nothing departs. The space does not anticipate change. It does not recall what came before. The present remains without contrast. There is no emphasis on continuation. There is no sense of pause or resume. The stillness exists without rhythm. No cycle is apparent within it. Repetition becomes unnoticeable. The interior does not respond to time passing. Time does not respond to the interior. Both remain separate and irrelevant to one another. The night no longer frames experience. It dissolves into quiet sameness. There is no signal that this moment differs from another. The sense of duration loosens completely. There is no need to track continuity. There is no sense of delay or arrival. The interior remains steady without reference to time. Stillness replaces sequence entirely. Nothing advances within it. Nothing concludes within it. The sense of night fades into neutral presence. Darkness no longer suggests rest or wakefulness. It exists without implication. The interior holds without timing cues. It remains outside of clocks and measure. The idea of hours dissolves quietly. There is no distinction between moments now. They exist without separation. The stillness remains constant and unmarked. No threshold appears within it. No transition announces itself. The interior does not prepare for anything. It does not resolve anything. It simply remains. The sense of night becomes indistinguishable from stillness. The sense of time becomes indistinguishable from absence. Both dissolve into the same condition. The interior exists without temporal reference. Nothing within it suggests change or continuation. The same presence remains without awareness of duration. The interior does not move towards silence. Silence is already present. The stillness does not deepen or lift. It remains evenly distributed. The idea of night no longer applies. The idea of time no longer applies. Only steady stillness remains. The interior holds this without effort. Nothing marks the moment. Nothing ends it. The stillness remains without reference or boundary. The absence of time remains complete. The condition continues without notice. The stillness remains.